Mac, we're going to the World Series, man. Are you kidding me? I'm shaking. I'm on the verge of tears. I want to run around in happiness. I don't know how to feel. Like, tell me how to feel, man.
Man, you're asking the wrong guy. I don't know either. It was surreal just watching this whole game. The lead up into the game and everything. Just Jays had a chance to play for the World Series tonight. And now we get to say they're going to the World Series. And World Series starts on Friday. I think we can feel good about this one tonight and tomorrow. And I'm just out of words. I've been watching this baseball team my entire life. I wasn't around 92, 93. Um, yeah, just saying, I'm just going to keep saying it. Like we won the World Series. It's an incredible feeling. Didn't know at times that this team was going to get to the finish line this year, and they've captured the pennant and get a chance to play for the World Series against the Dodgers. It's just incredible to say. Gutsy performance by a lot of people today, and yeah, I mean they're Jays chance to the AL East, man,
All
or the
right.
American League. Yeah.
The American League, the Jays. All right, okay. We'll sort it out here. We'll get it together. Welcome to Jay Center's live stream following Game 7 of the American League Championship Series, where the Toronto Blue Jays won 4-3 over the Seattle Mariners in what can only be described as roller coaster fashion. I'm genuinely having a hard time finding the words to describe how I felt during this game. And you mentioned there that you mentioned there. Sorry, I'm genuinely at a loss for words. You mentioned that this is a something that we'll get to celebrate for a couple days here before the World Series starts on Friday. I think this is a moment that we're going to get to celebrate forever. Um, when that flag or when that banner rolls down on opening day next year, it's going to say American League champions or World Series champions or World Series champions, and like that's something that we're going to get to celebrate forever. This is awesome. This is something I've never got to experience. It's not something I expected to experience, and I'm just so happy, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy. I'm happy for this team. Like, it felt like they needed this win tonight. Like, just to have that banner up there that this team was the winner of the American League East. They deserve to be the champions. I'm glad they pulled through tonight and they pulled through in this series because this team deserves to be remembered special. And unfortunately, time kind of erodes teams that don't step up and win these big games in the playoffs, and this team deserves to be remembered, and they're going to get a shot to play for the World Series, and they're American League champions, and a series they lost control of early, and it felt like they were fighting back the entire time. Even tonight, you said roller coaster. I was prepared to do a post-mortem on here,
Me too.
trying to
Me
find the
too.
words, because Seattle beat them for a good part of that ball game. George Kirby found it late, and they got some good relief pitching from Brian Wu too. But yeah, I mean, we'll get into all the great stuff on the Jays side, but just yeah, it didn't really hit me in this game. I wasn't really comfortable until it was 2-2 on Rodriguez, and I was like, okay, we're a strike away from the World Series, and I kind of allowed myself a smile and just enjoyed the moment. But for the most part, that game felt a little uncomfortable, and probably just because it really felt like the Jays really needed to win this game. They needed to win the American League this year to really cement this team's legacy moving forward, because it's just well deserved for the guys, and yeah, it's incredible to say. It really is.
Yeah, I was also ready to do a post-mortem here. Like I called my parents in the seventh inning, right before George Springer hit that home run. Right before the rally started, and I was like, it sucks that this is the way that this team's going to go out. Um, what an idiot for having that take that early in this ball game, because I should have known that this team who led baseball in comeback victories and won this way all year, won all the close games, won all the games they needed to. How many times were their backs against the wall? Like countless times. Like the fact that I didn't expect them to win this game is honestly disrespectful, and I'm not going to disrespect them again in the World Series. I'll tell you that. Like just an awesome, awesome baseball game. I think the like to get into this here, we got to start with George Springer. The biggest swing since the bat flip. And I think we can say that comfortably. And I think we can have the conversation is this swing that George Springer took in the 7th inning to put the Jays ahead 4-3 for good. The American League pennant winning swing. Is that the biggest swing since Joe Carter? What do you think, Mac?
Oh man, I don't know if I want to play the comparison game this early. I mean, it was very similar. There's so many things similar, right? Like 7th inning is just crazy for this team in the postseason. And the feeling I had coming into that 7th inning was kind of the same I did back in that game in 2015. Like, you can't lose this way. We're going to lose the ball game this way. And thank God the Jays still had some left in them. George Springer, like playing hurt, playing through a bit of pain. We talked a bit about it at the end of last night because he was showing a lot of discomfort at the plate last night. But we agreed, like he needs to be in the lineup for these moments, and it felt like a moment when he was coming to the plate there. Everyone in the ballpark felt that George needed to be the guy to get that hit there, because the Jays hadn't been having a lot of success and they needed somebody to step up and deliver a base hit. And George delivered the biggest of them all. And like, what else? What can you say about George Springer in these moments? I kind of get lost in it sometimes. I'm just watching the Jays game. I've got Dan and Buck on, and sometimes I forget when I'm watching the Jays in the playoffs here this year that these games are on a national magnitude on these games. And like, that's home run tonight. Like, absolutely, it deserves to be in the conversation. It might surpass Jose Batista's home run very well. It very well might have already. I'm just nostalgic for Joey Bats, but um, yeah, I mean, Springer just he's going to go down as one of the best postseason players of all time, and tonight's home run is one of the biggest ones of his career in the postseason. He had so many big ones for Houston. It's just incredible to see him do that. Um, Toronto got him for these moments. They signed him a long time ago, hoping that he would be in these moments probably a little earlier in his tenure. But I mean, the year he's had has been incredible. He's been invaluable to this team, and I didn't want anybody else at the plate tonight. It was his spot to deliver, and yeah, I mean, that's one of the biggest home runs in Blue Jays history.
Yeah, I think we're going to be talking about that home run forever. I think, and I've said it so many times on these streams, I hope nobody's taking that for granted and nobody's taking this for granted, because it is not often. It has been since 1993, since the Blue Jays were in this spot and they got the chance to play for a World Series. And George Springer just put the Blue Jays in that spot and gave them the chance to do it again in 2025. And it's special. It's a special, special season from George Springer. Really, like, can't say enough about him as a baseball player, obviously, in the season he had, coming off of what he did last year. Like, I was like one of those guys, I was like, maybe we could eat the George Springer money and like get off the contract. Like, I thought he was done. I was like, maybe Alan Roden and Joey Loperfido need to play over him. Again, what an idiot, because George Springer proved me and everybody wrong. And I think this swing he took in the 7th inning genuinely is going to be one of my favorite baseball memories for a long, long, long time.
Yeah, and you know what? It's kind of hard to evaluate it right now because we still got some baseball left. Thank God we're
Yeah.
still talking about baseball coming up, and um, that Springer home run means a lot depending on what the Jays do moving forward too. So it'll always be one of the biggest home runs. I'm probably underselling it a bit because I'm still processing it. Like, it's crazy that happened. I thought the Jays were definitely on their way of kind of being down and out there, and that inning just got away kind of quickly on Seattle there, got runners on second and third. Jays did a good job, and George Springer, just the biggest of hits, man. Like, just
Yeah.
I don't really have words.
Absolutely. Absolutely massive. Okay. Let's get into the nitty gritty a little bit here. We don't need to dig too deep because it was looking bleak early. I don't know about you, but I was pretty unhappy with what I saw out of Shane Bieber. He only made it through 3 2/3, 7 hits, 2 earned, a walk, 5 Ks. He battled really hard, but he was giving up a ton of loud contact, including a home run to Julio Rodriguez on a slider that was off the plate in a first inning run as well. 6 of his 7 hits were given up on breaking balls, and he threw 49% breaking balls. So the plan for the Mariners was clearly to be on that slider and that knuckle curve that he throws, and it worked for them. They were all over him, and they honestly left a lot. Well, they left a lot of guys on base, and they left a lot of runs on the board by not getting the big hit. What did you see from Bieber?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the greatest start. I think he'll tell you that it needs to be better, but it's also hard to talk about this start like it's any other start in July or any time like that. Um, did I cut out there?
Yeah, a little bit, but I got you here.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to talk about. It's just hard to talk about the Bieber start like it's just a regular season start, right? Like this, there's only a handful of guys that have ever started Game 7 in the playoffs. Like the pressure that comes with that start. Bieber go a lot deeper in the baseball game. But it was gritty. He got some outs for the Jays at the start of the game. It could have been a lot worse, right? Like could have been taking him out in the first or second inning. He did kind of find his breaking stuff a bit later in the ball game. Got a couple big strikeouts, kind of moved the game along. So it wasn't the best start. I'm sure Toronto wishes they got a better start from him. They definitely relied on a lot of arms in the bullpen tonight to get those outs. If you asked me earlier what my confidence level would have been, probably not high, knowing what they had to deploy. And but the guys that came in after Bieber just stepped up, did a wonderful job. Like you might as well start with Louis Varland coming in first. He had a great appearance yesterday. I kind of probably undersold his appearance yesterday. I was trying to make a point about Yasevich staying in the game a bit longer, but he came in, he pitched pretty good yesterday, and to come in and do the exact same job again today, even cleaner tonight, back to back is just great. And then Sir Anthony behind him, just as good as well.
Yeah, Sir Anthony was really good. Varland did a good job to get out of Bieber's mess in the 4th inning. Did give up the home run to Raleigh, which like could have been a huge swing. Gave the Mariners a little bit of separation at the time, made it 3-1. but like from there, he was solid and he settled it down. He did his job. I was really ready to get on here and sorry, just bringing it back to Bieber for a quick second and be upset with the Julio home run because that was definitely a fair ball to Ernie Clement down the line that he would have thrown Julio out on, or at least held him to a single, an infield hit. And then he absolutely swung on the slider in the dirt. That would have been strike 3. Luckily, that's not going to go down in Blue Jays history as a blown call and an absolute catastrophe. And yeah, you're absolutely right about Varland and Sir Anthony. I think now's the time to get to the 2 starters who we saw out of the bullpen. Kevin Gausman was a little bit shaky, got a big double play ball. Didn't have his best stuff, obviously. Like, what do you expect having seen him pitch? What was it? 2 days ago, 3 days ago? Like what else? Like, for what you wanted him to do, he did exactly what he needed to, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like
He went to
I don't
0.
know what you're kind of expecting from Kevin Gausman. I don't think anybody's really knowing what you're going to get with a guy very limited experience coming out of the bullpen, especially recently, and coming off short rest as he was. But you had to put Kevin Gausman into this baseball game at some point. If you're John Schneider, he was available. You had to deploy him. He's one of your best pitchers, and you're kind of short on some reliable arms in the bullpen as this series is kind of shown as it's gone along. So, yeah, when I seen Gausman coming in the 7th, I was kind of thinking what I said last night, where maybe there's an opportunity for Kevin Gausman to come in and finish this ball game. But that was pretty evident that, he was just going to get through the one there once that inning kind of got started playing out. But I mean, it was a big inning for him to come in. He still does a job. He gets that clean inning, flips it over, and yeah, and that's when the damage happened. I guess does Gosman he'll go down with the win then?
He's going to be the
Write
winning
him up.
pitcher. The pitcher of record is going to be Kevin Gosman. And yes, you're right.
I
That
was just
led
hoping I
directly.
wasn't like
Oh yeah, go
still
ahead.
in Sopranos. I was just hoping my timeline wasn't getting messed up. But
No, yeah,
yeah,
you're
that was the inning
100%.
before. Okay.
You're 100% correct there. And how about the job that Chris Bassett did immediately after the George Springer home run? That place was, I'm sure, shaking, vibrating. I live downtown. I can't say I heard it from here, but I heard it in spirit. Like watching that on TV was insane. The atmosphere had to have been ridiculous. The job that Chris Bassett did. This is a starter. This is a like an ice in his veins type guy, like a slow heartbeat type guy, coming in the 8th inning and to do the job that he did, get a 1-2-3 inning, settle it down, get the sticks back up, and not give the Mariners any chance to spark a rally. I think Chris Bassett was nails.
Yeah, I actually, without going back and looking at things, but I thought gave the Jays best inning, maybe next to Dominguez tonight. Like you said, ice cold demeanor. We kind of know that, gotten to know that about Chris Bassett, and he came in and he looked the part on the mound today. So just an incredible job by Chris Bassett coming into an unfamiliar spot for him and pitching the way he did. Um, I think Quinn Walcott might get a hold in this game for that strike three call on Suarez. Is a little,
I think it caught the zone, to be honest. I think it did.
yeah. You know
It
what?
was ugly.
I don't like that strike call because that ball never crosses the plate, right? Like
No,
it's coming back right at the end. So I got Suarez's grievance with that one, and that was a big out in that inning. Like it just if the Mariners got a base runner there, feels like things would have changed a little bit. But Chris Bassett, phenomenal job from him tonight. They don't like they they're struggling to bridge out to the end of the ball game, and that's where the Brandon Little thing came up earlier in the series. It finally feels like we can talk about that, but
finally.
getting to out 24, getting to out 27, it's been a challenge for this team, and Chris Bassett coming in today did a great job in the 8th inning, and like all the pieces matter. Like he came in game 2, and I thought he looked pretty good in his only appearance in the series before tonight. Um, it wasn't anything that popped off the page. Everyone was pretty disappointed after we got down 2-0 in the series, but it was one of those appearances where I thought, okay, you know what, we might see Chris Bassett later in the series. He looks like he's getting into form, and ideally he doesn't pitch in the spot he pitches in tonight, but 3 big outs. It was a gutty performance from him.
Yeah, absolutely gutsy from Chris Bassett. Not the 8th inning guy I expected to see, not the 8th inning guy I even wanted to see. He kind of came in. And I was like, oh, it's Chris Bassett. Not all right, it's Chris Bassett. You know what I mean? Like, it was all right, let's see what we got here. It's kind of like, I don't know if it's silly or like, it's kind of disheartening the way that like John Schneider and like the pitching staff like obviously has no faith in literally anybody else in the bullpen. Like Braden Fisher has been nails for this team at times. Same with Flu Hardy, and to be honest, so has Brendan Little. Um, and like just the lack of faith to go to those guys, and like same with Yariel Rodriguez. Like there's a lot of relievers that there just is clearly no faith in, and that obviously was evident when you went to 2 starters in Kevin Gosman and Chris Bassett, and they did the job, so it's the right move, and I have no problem with it whatsoever, and I'll probably never talk about it again after this. But at the same time, like it's a little bit disheartening. What I did love to see is the closer, the guy you paid all this money to in the offseason. Jeff Hoffman came in and struck out the side in order, got 8, 9, and 1 in Julio Rodriguez, and sent the Blue Jays to the World Series. How awesome was that? 35 pitches last night, the night before, and then he came in today. And yeah, I'm not going to say anything too derogatory, but he completely shoved against the Mariners there tonight.
Yeah, a big game pitcher, right? And
Big game pitcher.
he showed that tonight. And there's ups and downs all year with Hoffman. None of that matters as long as you get the job done tonight. And he got the job done tonight. He got the job done yesterday. Just incredible job from him coming in. It's a big ask. The Jays has asked a lot out of a lot of guys tonight, and Hoffman, yeah, you get paid the money, you have that closer's role. This is an expectation come playoffs, but the performance isn't an expectation. So pitch a season high 35 yesterday in the big spot he was in. We've all seen him come off on back to backs all year long. To do what he did tonight, relatively easy 1, 2, 3. I think, I don't know. I kind of blacked out a bit like
Oh,
Will Ferrell and Old
I
School,
was
but
vibrating.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, what a great job from Hoff closing this one out. Those have been the hardest outs for the Jays this year at times, and yeah, he got the last three to go to the World Series, man. Still
They
can't believe
looked
I'm saying that.
they looked pretty easy tonight, and that is exactly what you want to see out of your closer. Just a special couple performances from Hoffman on these last couple nights. And he's the guy that got the final out to send the Jays to the World Series, and he's going to go down in history as that guy. Pretty awesome stuff. Okay, so the American League Championship MVP, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I know Vladdy's a guy we've talked about a lot on these React live streams. What do you have to say about him that hasn't been said yet?
I mean, it's well deserved. Like, I'm glad he got that honor. Sometimes we want to overlook the best player on the team and overlook his contributions. And it would be easy to do on this team, because everyone's stepping up, and we can go into all those guys later. But this team, especially this team, Sans Bichette, needs Vlad Guerrero. And, it wasn't a coincidence he's 0 for 8 or whatever his 0 for was in the first two games of the series, and the Jays look lost and out of the series. And his performance was just stepped up. His stats this postseason have been ridiculous. He's had some big hits throughout this entire series, and just consistently having some big at bats for this team. And if they have any hope of winning the World Series, he's going to have to continue that against the Dodgers. But yeah, his performance in this series well worth the MVP award. I think he's shown that he's well worth his value to this team in so many ways. Yeah, it's just awesome to see that Vladdy. He's the guy that was able to defeat the Maple Leafs curse. I want him rolling in to game one of the World Series with an Aussie Matt jersey on, but I thought that was the death knell today when I seen him rolling into the stadium wearing a Leafs jersey. But um, yeah, Vladdy, he just steps in the moment. He says he's born for this, and he gets to have his fun when he's talking Yankees lose and stuff like that, because he's stepping up this postseason. Well deserved on the ALCS MVP, and just keep it going, man, because we're really going to need it here coming up in the World Series. And it's just really good to kind of finish up on that. Just being a big Vlad fan since he's come to the Jays, watching him now step in and step to these moments. He certainly had some detractors along the way, even recently. Just people questioning a lot of things about his game that really don't deserve to be questioned. He's one of the most talented hitters in the sport. Showed that tonight, and he's a big reason why the Jays are still playing baseball. It's October 20th, and our season continues.
The season will continue in the World Series. Still pretty hard to believe. I can hear all the car horns going off outside my room right now. Unreal. I'm
I
so
wish I was there.
I'm so excited, man. I'm just so happy for this team, and I think getting to watch Vladimir Guerrero Jr., special player on a special team, and you mentioned him breaking that Austin Matthews, that Leafs curse. That's what the Jays have done all year, man. Look at the team that they beat to beat or to clinch the American League East in Game 162, the Tampa Bay Rays. And I'm not a big believer in this like devil magic, like it's a sign type of thing, but the Rays are a team that always gives you a hard time, and you beat them in 162. The Yankees have always had the Jays number, and what do the Jays do? They go and, frankly, they beat the crap out of them in the American League Division Series. And then the Seattle Mariners. Think about 2022. George Springer and Bo Bichette colliding in the outfield, the 8-1 game, the absolute disaster that was that series, and then the panic moves in the offseason, trading Teoscar Hernandez and Lourdes Gurriel bringing in Dalton Varsho for Gabriel Moreno, which looked like an awful trade for a little bit there. I think there's not a Jays fan on the planet right now that would undo that trade, but I digress. Like, I think this Jays team, uh, going back to the World Series, like, they're special, man. And it's hard to quantify. Well, there's so many ways to quantify it, but I think the simplest way to put it is they're a special team, and like the World Series is where they belong because they're the best team in the American League.
Yeah, exactly. And that just kind of goes back to what I was kind of getting at the start. Just this team deserves to be titled the American League champions. They played well all year. They deserve that banner. And that's why it felt like a needed win tonight. That's why I think why this game had so much anxiety, because it would have felt like you were falling on your face, sort of getting a little too far from the finish line if you didn't get there tonight. So it's great that they've got a chance to play for the World Series. I can't believe it. Like, just been watching this team not even play meaningful baseball in September most of my life. So to be to win tonight, game 7 win, just incredible, just incredible. And George Springer, probably can't talk enough about him. Just big hit from a big moment from one of the best that's ever done it in October.
Yeah, I think we're going to be talking about it literally forever. Um, yeah, 10 years from now, when the Jays are on another generational playoff run, George Springer is going to be a guy that's throwing out a first pitch. Um, and yeah, it's just pretty special, man.
I loved
Unfortunately, what's that?
I love them bringing out Estrada for Game 7 first
Love
pitch tonight.
that.
I thought that was excellent pick. I didn't know who they were going to follow up Batista with from last night,
Yeah.
but that's an excellent pick, and we got to be seeing, like, we thinking Joe Carter or someone Game 1.
Yeah, I want to see like that whole 1992, 1993 roster come out. Like, yeah, I think Joe Carter, especially in Game 1, I think that would probably do it. Maybe Cito gets one. Uh, a pick I saw on Twitter today, I don't know who it was from, but Buck Martinez. I know he's got to be in the broadcast booth, but like they have elevators in the Rogers Center. They can get him up there pretty quickly after first pitch, right? Like, I would love to see Buck Martinez throw out a first pitch. I think that would set the tone in a monstrous way. I think the crowd would absolutely love that. And I think this is not the conversation for tonight. The Jays are going to the World Series, but Buck belongs on the level of excellence, man. Where do you want to go next? My notes are terrible. Like, I had a hard time doing anything but watching this game with my arms crossed and my hands on my face. Like, what do you have here?
Yeah, I mean, mostly that. And I mean, mostly the stuff I wanted to talk about was things I was kind of prepping myself for the Jays to. I thought they were going to lose this baseball game, and
Yeah,
like George Kirby settled in kind of in the third inning, and he looked good until he left, and Wu picked up kind of right where he left off. So some of the at bats they were having in those innings, they seemed a lot like the first 2 games in this series where they were kind of pressing a little bit. Clement had one at bat where he took a couple close fastballs and then he chased a pitch that got him out in his first appearance in the fourth, and that just kind of seemed how they were getting themselves out and putting themselves in a bit of a hole. And I only bring that up not to dwell on the negatives in this game, but that was just how momentous that George Springer home run was, because that was really their first opportunity to draw blood in that game. For several innings, they were chasing some pitches, they were getting some outs, they weren't putting themselves in a position to get runs. So George coming up with the home run he did, it speaks, or it's going to speak to the level that it gets recognized, because it was such a big time in the game, because the Jays just hadn't had any opportunities, and finally getting one, and Springer took advantage of it.
yeah, I think, and it got mentioned earlier by Wheat, the bottom of the order, producing out of this world. So I think the fact that we've gone this long without mentioning Addison Barger and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa for starting off that inning, and Andres Jimenez for the bunt. I think it was a brutal bunt. It was a good bunt, but it was a brutal bunt call. Luckily, I'm not even going to say anything other than that, and set the table for the top of the lineup in George Springer, who took Bizzardo deep. Special, man. Yeah, the bottom of the lineup does it. And obviously it's George Springer with the swing, but George Springer can take
Yeah,
that swing with nobody on base, and the Jays lose 3-2. So I
there's
think,
one thing
yeah.
I really want to stop seeing, and it happened twice tonight. It happened in that inning with IKF's base hit, and it happened with Clement in the inning after. They're flashing bunt with no intent on that first pitch, and they're taking the first pitch, and it just kind of seems like they're throwing at bats away. And it's not really something to talk about tonight because they got a couple two strike base hits on those at bats. But I didn't really like them doing that. Their approach coming to the plate with that. I don't know if that's something they're getting from the dugout or if they're going up on their own and doing that. But I mean, both two big two strike hits. I think we might be talking about that eighth inning a little bit more if Barger didn't hit it right at Naylor. That was kind of a chance to break that baseball game open. It seemed like they had Munoz on the ropes a little bit. But yeah, just Jimenez, yeah, I didn't really like that bunt call either, but well executed, do your job, and it. I guess it really had no impact on the game. That's what bunts do. The worst bunt
Yeah.
today, I thought, was Dan Wilson in the second inning. I don't know why he had JP Crawford bunt with runners on first and second, nobody out. He gives up Crawford, and then you've got Rivas and Robles hitting behind him. That one I really, really question because why are you giving the Jays an out in that point in the baseball game? So I thought that was a bit of a gift. If we want to talk about bad bunt calls, I wish nobody swung around to square up tonight. I don't think
Yeah.
bunting served any purpose in this baseball game whatsoever. But that call by Dan Wilson early in this game, I thought that killed any Seattle rally at that point. They didn't score a run in that inning. So
Yeah, man, I'm a Gen Z baseball fan. You don't have to convince me to hate bunting. I already hate it. I think it's, I don't
I've
know.
talked to too many high school coaches around here, I guess. But
Yeah, oh yeah. No, I think there's a time and a place for it. Like if you need one run, and you have a runner on second and nobody out, and like that bunt can get him to third base, and like a sac fly all of a sudden scores that run to tie a game or take a lead. I don't hate it. Like the extra inning rule, like if you're the home team and one run wins you a baseball game, bunt. But like especially when you got to get first and second on, nobody out, I think a bunt can a lot of times settle in a pitcher, get him an out, kind of settle him in, make him feel a little bit more
yeah,
confident, give him a chance to throw strikes without giving up damage. Like he's probably already given up a walk or hit. Like especially if pitchers are walking guys. And this is like I want to talk about the Jays going to the World Series, but but especially if a pitcher is walking guys, or giving up lasers, like a bunt can give him a chance to get back in the zone and find it. Right? I just don't love it.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and yeah, I don't want to drone on about it too much longer either. But I mean, perfect example of what you're talking about was the bunt Seattle had in the
Yeah,
second inning.
exactly.
We've seen how
Yep.
hard it was for Shane Bieber to get some outs tonight, and they gifted him one, and then let him kind of settle down in the second inning against the bottom of their order, and get out of it. So yeah, even when the bunt's well executed, it really doesn't do anything for you. So.
No, I agree. What else do you have? I'm kind of out of stuff. I could talk about this baseball game forever. I kind of
Yeah,
just want to watch the replay until my eyes bleed. Like,
I got I got it on pause. I definitely want to take in the pennant celebration
yeah,
and
yeah,
everything. And yeah, I mean, this game it felt it had a lot of parallels to 2015 for me. Maybe that's because
yeah,
it's the only game of this magnitude that I've watched. But yeah, just that sinking feeling that Jays aren't going to win a game that it feels like they should win. And then Springer's home run doing what Jose did back in 2015. It's just incredible that, the Blue Jays are going to the World Series. It's on the back of George Springer's big home run and just a good gutty pitching performance from the pitching staff. Um, just got the job done. They got to 27 outs, and they really held Seattle in check enough for their offense, even on a bit of a down night, to get those runs. So
yeah. Wheat is saying Springer needs more flowers. Bad knees in his first two at bats. They were pitching him tough inside. What an AB and clutch moment. Yeah, Wheat, you're 100% right. Um, Genuinely, I think one of the three greatest swings in Blue Jays history. Um,
If
maybe
George
my
Springer doesn't, if he doesn't hit that home run tonight, we're having a much more depressing conversation. I don't like
yep.
I that felt like maybe the Jays' last chance in that ball game, only chance in that ball game. I mean, it's hard to say how the game would have played out. They did have that eighth inning, I suppose, but they really needed a big hit there. And George Springer, an absolute postseason hero for most of his career, no better man at the plate. That's why he's in the lineup, and he's in there. He's hurt, absolutely. Just guys rise to the moment, and George Springer did tonight. And it's also not lost on me. Man, the American League West fans can't be loving that George Springer's the hero again, huh?
Honestly, that storyline had not even crossed my mind.
I kind of
Yeah,
forgot about it too because I've now become a George Springer fan now that he's
yeah.
on my team. But I certainly remember hating George Springer as a member of the Houston Astros. I don't have a lot of fond memory of those Astro teams. So, um, yeah, I guess we're in the minority of being Springer fans now. So I am sure there was a lot of fan bases or a lot of fans across this league, regardless of teams, who were cringing at that Springer home run a little bit.
Hey man, I'm glad they hate him because I love him more than anything in the world. Okay, before we get out of here, let's do a little bit, just touch on a little bit of a World Series preview. Bo Bichette, Carly
Oh
asked
man.
earlier, Bo makes the roster. What role does he play? I'm gonna say Bo does make the roster. This is just a gut feeling. Obviously, I don't know anything. I think Bo makes the roster in purely a DH role. We might get to see some George Springer outfield as long as that knee's feeling all right. Um, what do you think?
Yeah, I think if it happens, that sounds like the pathway. I think it's hard to be too optimistic with how they've talked about it and handled things so far. I don't think we can expect him to be activated and just start playing shortstop right away.
No.
Um, yeah, I think he's going to be on the roster. Is my gut feeling too. I know John Schneider said something earlier in the year, like we're not going to have that Kirk Gibson moment, but the Dodgers have a ton of world class baseball players, and you need your world class baseball players ready to go. And Bo Bichette is a world class player. So, what you're going to get from him, I don't know. It's probably going to be a bit of like a Santander situation where he's getting his feet wet a little bit. Can't really bank on him, going 3 for 4 in his first game back. I mean, who knows? Anything can happen in this playoff baseball. He's chomping at the bit, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, if he says he's ready to play, even if it's at 70, 80%, what else do you need other than the Springer home run tonight to say just let your best guys play? If they say they're good to go, you need them in the lineup. What role he plays, whether, and it may be something like Brian Wu for Seattle, where Bo's on the roster. He might not play the first weekend or not play until the series kind of gets into the meat of it. So I would expect Bo Bichette, but that's just the gut feeling. Like you said, I'm just kind of concurring with you on that, Owen. Like you're not really going off of too much, but I'm sure people are going to be talking about that lots in the next couple of days.
Yeah, and it's hard not to be like a little bit gutted. Like that's the one thing about this run that I don't feel great about is the fact that it wasn't Bo Bichette doing it. And he's on the roster and like every time they show him on the bench, like my heart breaks a little bit because he should be on the field with this team. He is a massive building block in what they've built here this season. And I really hope he gets a chance and has a moment in the World Series because he deserves it, man. He has been an awesome Blue Jay. And like that's what goes without mentioning that he's a free agent this offseason. And like there's a good chance he leaves in free agency. We're not going to talk about it yet because the Blue Jays are playing in the World Series. Okay. So we could talk about the offseason after that. But I think I really, really, really would love to see Bo Bichette get a chance to have his moment in the spotlight for this team on the biggest stage in the sport. Okay. Last thing before we get out of here, gut feel. I know it's early. I haven't even let myself think about it yet. How do we feel against the Dodgers in the World Series?
I mean, how does anybody feel going against the Dodgers in the World Series? I don't know. I haven't really been watching a whole lot of the other series, to be honest. Um, Dodgers seem like they're kind of rolling right now. Their pitching's as good as it's been all year. They've got some consistency with it. So, hey, you're in the World Series. You're going to go up against the best. We're the American League's best. We got some guys going too. So, um, yeah, it's going to be a series. It's definitely going to come down to pitching for Toronto. They're going to need better pitching than they got in this series against Seattle if they have any chance. If they bring that pitching performance, this series is going to be over pretty briefly. So, that's not to say that I'm counting them out. Obviously, Yasevich had a great start yesterday. Gosman's been pitching well. I still got confidence in Bieber. We'll probably see Scherzer again in this series coming up. Love seeing what he's coming off of to give him an opportunity to start a World Series game. And you never know with the bullpen. It's all it takes is one good outing and somebody's pitching well again. So guys are just going to have to take advantage and make the most of their opportunities that they get, and it's a fresh sheet here and fresh slate, and hopefully Hoffman keeps pitching well as or pretty good as well, because what a nice thing to have him kind of close out these last two games. Next to Springer, there's a lot of guys, but Hoffman's a big reason why we're talking about still playing baseball in the World Series on Friday.
Yeah, and I can say that there's 26. Actually, that's not even true. There's got to be like 30, 32 guys that have contributed to the Jays getting into this spot. 26 in this series. Every single guy on that roster played a role at some point or another. Mason brings up a great point. The Raps weren't supposed to beat the Warriors. George's homer was the Kawhi shot. Jays in 6, baby. Let's go. I love it. It's baseball,
Love it.
man. Like, anybody could beat anybody. Dodgers have had a long layoff. Bats could get cold. Jays bats could get really, really hot. Pitchers can get really hot. Like, you never know. The Dodgers are going to be heavy favorites. That team is ridiculous. Like, that Dodgers team is absolutely loaded. They have Hall of Famers up and down the lineup. They have 4 aces in the pitching staff. It's not going to be easy.
And
If
just to
there's a
jump on,
team, no, let me
go
get
ahead.
through this one real quick. If there's a team in baseball that I think can beat them, I think it's the American League champion Toronto Blue Jays. Okay? I think that's all I got tonight. What do you have?
Yeah, and I just sorry to cut you off right at the end
No.
there. I just kind of wanted to hop on to what you were saying and kind of what
Yeah.
Mace said. Just yeah, postseason in any sport to me, it's based on the moments, and the Jays have had their moments right now. George's home run tonight, that's going to go down as an all-time moment. But you've also had Max's performance and Trey's performance yesterday on the mound. You've had Ernie Clement all playoff long pitching in. Vlad Guerrero winning the MVP of this series. He's been great all postseason. Bullpen game in Game 4. The Jays have had so many moments this postseason. That's also why it would have felt like it would have been a shame if it ended tonight, because they've had all these things to get them so far. Keep it going, right? Who's going to be the Fred Van Vliet this series if we're going to keep that analogy going? Somebody's going to step up. I'm going to go with Connor Fluffa, by the way. But
I give me Addison Barger. I think Barger stays hot, and I've really liked his at bats. He smoked that ball off Munoz. Like, that was really close to making it, like, to cash in 2 more runs, making it 6-3 Jays. If Naylor
me
was positioned a little bit differently.
Me too. And I wonder if we're going to have some kind of conversation about Barger moving up in the order, because he's looked a lot better since leaving Toronto to go to
Mm-hmm.
Seattle for Game 3. His at bats have been a lot better. But also on the flip side, like we talked about bottom of the order earlier, that's been fantastic. This team turns over its lineup. It's a threat anywhere. So having Barger in the 7 spot's not a terrible thing either, as long as guys up in the order are hitting as well.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm ready to wrap this up if you are.
Yeah, man. Let's go enjoy this.
All right. Oh, man. Thank you to everybody who tuned in to Jay Center's live stream following the Blue Jays 4-3 victory in Game 7 of the American League Championship Series over the Seattle Mariners. The Blue Jays have won the American League. They had the best record in the American League in the regular season, and they won the American League pennant in the postseason. They're going to the World Series to face the Los Angeles Dodgers. We're going to talk to you in the World Series. Thank you on behalf of Mac and myself. Man, I'm so excited. I'm so happy. Go enjoy this. Do not take this for granted, Jays fans. We'll talk to you soon.